Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall Greider. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall Greider.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I'm honored to be connecting in with you as we explore how to keep growing and thriving. How do we do that individually? How do we do that collectively? How do we continue to grow and thrive together as we step forward in life? How are we choosing to show up in that? One of the things I like to look at in May is looking at how do the seeds that got planted in the spring, so in March, the April showers raining in, causing growth, are now starting to bloom and show up in our lives in May. So how are April showers bringing flowers into our life? How are we continuing to grow? How are we continuing to show up no matter what happens in life? How are we choosing to respond? What are we building into our life to encourage and empower us so that we can thrive? That those challenges become opportunities for us to discover things about ourselves, about others, to continue to stretch and grow. Sometimes I found the only way I was able to discover some strengths and gifts and talents were because of trials or difficulties or challenges. I discovered I was braver than I knew and stronger than I thought possible, and that I wasn't alone. And sometimes I couldn't learn those things, at least on my journey, I think without some of those challenges. So there's gifts in those too. And how are we choosing to stand again? How are we choosing to rise up? How are we choosing to continue to thrive? And not just survive, but thrive no matter what. I know our guests today, you're going to enjoy meeting as they share from their heart to really support and encourage you to be bold, to shine, to really lean into your gifts and talents and abilities and to bring them to the world. And the consistent theme I want you to hear through the show today is that you are not alone. Life is not a solo journey. I don't know where that myth got started, but it's not the truth. We get to come alongside each other and support each other. So please feel us and know that we are leaning into you. And we're so honored to have each of you leaning into the conversation. So to get the most out of our time together, which I want for you, take a moment and breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, like through a straw. Doesn't that feel good? Just to remember to breathe, to slow down a little bit. We're so good at multitasking and doing. Sometimes we forget or we miss to be present, to be, to listen, to receive, and that is enough. And sometimes we get our greatest insight, clarity, encouragement when we remember to slow down and listen and receive. So today I declare this is your time, an opportunity for you to slow down, breathe, and receive. Put all the doing to the side for a moment. This is for you. And take in what will serve you. We have these beautiful breaks built in throughout the show to encourage you to stop and pause, to integrate what serves you and to release what no longer does. So to support that, let's take a breath again all the way to our toes. Take it in. Your toes are further, bigger breath. Beautiful. And then breathe out. Close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. Put both hands on your heart so you can feel that heartbeat. As your eyes are closed and you're connecting in and feeling that heartbeat, what is it that you need today? What is it that you need to support and encourage you? In between each heartbeat, what message is bubbling up to encourage you, to empower you, to grow, to thrive? What do you need? that you are willing to receive, because guess what? You have choice. So what is it you are willing to receive that you need and are willing to receive? Beautiful. Take that information in. Let's take a breath again. So we open up our eyes, become fully present, and I encourage you to take a moment and write down what was laid on your heart, what it is that you need and are willing to receive. Please note, we did not ask you to identify how. We just asked you to identify what it is you need that you're willing to receive. And what's beautiful about that is that you don't have to figure it all out. You just have to be open to being surprised even about the wonderful way this need will move forward. The support will come in an unexpected and open way. We're just open and looking forward to being surprised. It might be exciting to have it not come the way we thought it would and being open to that in our journey. So with that, we're going to go around our virtual room, and as we do, I'm going to ask each of our guests to just share what was laid on their heart when they took a moment to stop, pause, and listen. And with that, Tracy, I'd love for you to start. What was laid on your heart?
Sure. Hi. Rebecca, it was the idea of every time I took a breath, this space that was offered to me felt bigger and bigger. So I think what I felt mostly was space and abundant time for me and my health and my well-being. Not just my wellness, but my well-being.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got today. Thank you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Feeling that space and abundance for you. I mean, what a beautiful gift in that expansion. Sometimes it can start to feel so tight and so constricted and so busy and full. How beautiful it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, to have that space. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And then Rachel, what was laid on your heart?
For me, it was to keep doing what you're doing and don't rush yourself. For me, I put a lot of pressure on myself to fulfill certain goals that I have. And, I don't need to rush it. It's the pace that I'm going is maybe even too fast. I could slow down a little and still be accomplishing what I want to accomplish.
I love that. You might even be ahead of schedule, right? Now you have space. I love that. Beautiful. And what a wonderful reminder to stop pushing and pressuring ourselves so much. I think we can do that for ourselves far more than we'll do for others, to others. So interesting how we can be. And remembering to hold space for ourselves too, and honor the timeline as it unfolds. I love that. And as you were saying that, I could just feel the release of some pressure and how good that feels to let some of that go. Hey, where you are is perfect. I love that. Well, we are getting ready to go to our first commercial break. And as we do, listeners, I want you to think about what Tracy and Rachel have shared, perhaps something I've shared, or what's kind of bubbling up within you as you feel in and listen. And we will look forward to continuing our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Voice America programs are now available on your favorite connected device. including Amazon, Alexa, and Google Home. Through streams with Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio, listening to your favorite show is as easy as saying the show name followed by the word podcast.
Hey, Alexa, play Finding Your Frequency podcast.
If that doesn't work, try adding on TuneIn or on iHeartRadio or on Apple Podcasts.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and how impactful and powerful it can be when we slow down just 2 minutes and we listen and receive. I find it can change my perspective. It can change the flow of my day. It can change my concern and pressure and worry to clarity and peace and purpose. Just slowing down for a couple of minutes and sinking in. And behind the scenes, I was talking with our guests and I said, look at that. We've already created more space, time, and less pressure already in the beginning of the show. So you've got that. You've got the time. No pressure. We're releasing that. And this is time for you, listener, to be poured into. So we're just thrilled to have you joining us. And I'm excited to introduce our first guest a little bit more formally so you know a little bit more about her. And looking forward to all that she has to share with us today. Tracy Root, for over a decade, has been serving and supporting women to set and get their goals in life and business. So not just set them, but get them, achieve them, bring them forward. She's the founder of the Gather Community. She serves women entrepreneurs through workshops, coaching programs, and the Gather Community membership and events. She is passionate about helping you gain visibility and confidence so that you can be bold in your life and business. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful, dynamic, and bold Tracy Root to the show. Welcome.
Yay, thank you so much. Oh, my, that was a wonderful rendition of that introduction. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. I'm embracing the boldness. Let's bring that forward. So excited to have you joining us. So before we dig into some of what you have to share around being bold and what that means and why that matters to us, I'd love for you to share a little bit about why this work of all that you've created, all that you're doing, why is this work so important to you and perhaps the journey that's led to it?
Yes, well, it is so important because it takes us a minute to get to that point. When I started in my adult life, I grew up in Silicon Valley. I worked in corporate America, high-tech companies, things like that. And I found myself creating this persona at work that made me feel like I was more accepted and more professional, and that I was going to therefore achieve my personal goals and ambitions of being, getting more money and more responsibility and doing larger projects and getting promoted and all of those things. And what was happening was that persona was getting smaller and smaller because I thought that I needed to be a certain way that was different than myself. Eventually, I recognized that yeah, essentially I recognized that, and I was like, you know what, this is not me. And if I'm going to actually enjoy my life, work life or personal life, I'm going to have to figure out how to get back to me.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, and um, that realization that you achieved in this alternate reality you created.
It is.
That was kind of living your life to some extent.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I came from a performance background,
Mhm.
and so I kind of had this show that I told myself I was putting on at work that was
Mm.
supposed to be, because I wasn't, I didn't feel accepted as I was.
Mm. And so with that, you've made this transition to being the founder of the Gather community, to serving women in so many different ways. Do you mind sharing just a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, you know, when I had this realization that if my life was going to be different, I needed to be myself and do things that actually filled my cup and I enjoyed, and that were going to serve me and my family going forward, I all of a sudden said, you know what? I might look bold. Like, I'm 6 feet tall. At the time that I realized this, I had purple hair. Today it's pink. And, you know, I had this show that I kind of allowed myself to put on, but I wasn't embodying it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I said, bold, like, I love this word and I like looking like this, but how can I really become more bold in my actions, in my thoughts, in my commitment to the things that I want out of life? And so I started kind of creating this framework around what it means to be bold in your life or in your business or in, you know, whatever your next step is. So that's where bold came from, was that realization.
I love that. And so as part of bold for you, it sounds like there's an embodiment element too that is really important. Do you mind expanding a little bit on, you don't have to give us all the secrets to your bold system and process, but I'd love to have kind of a highlight of what are, because we might have different definitions of how we look at that word. So I'd love to know yours and how this framework you created has really made such a difference for you and so many.
Yeah. And actually, you know, when I teach this in my workshops, I always start with a poll that is like, okay, what do you think bold is?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the options are like speaking up for yourself, starting before you feel like you're ready, taking action with confidence, being like visible. And because so many of us, and women, you know, we can go through all of the ways that we allow others to come before us.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's in work, sometimes that's in our families. You know, many of us are natural, you know, servants in the world. We're there to take care of our family. We're helpers. You know, that's kind of our feminine nature, is to help the world around us. But when we do that at the expense of our own dreams, then, you know, we tend to kind of forget that we have dreams in the first place, or how to have dreams, or how to go and get those dreams. So, you know, I take bold and I make it a framework.
I would love that. I was just going to say, so tell us, I love how people have different definitions. Yeah. So it's like you're reading my mind. So tell us, how do you define it? What are those components, please?
Yeah. So what we do is growing up in Silicon Valley, everything becomes an acronym.
Yes.
Because we talk fast and don't have enough time, right? So I took BOLD and created 4 parts. And it's like the big picture, and it comes down and down and down. So B would stand for build your vision. And not only build, like, what are you imagining that you want, but building a process to get there. So having real clarity on your dream and the goal related to that dream, because sometimes we have several goals that will get us to the dream. It's not just one.
Yep.
And then putting a structure to how are you going to accomplish that goal. I'm a big fan of goal set, like you said in the intro, goal setting and goal getting. Setting the goal is great, but if you don't have a plan on how to get there, you're never going to get there. You're going to like wiggle off into the ether. So we have to have a plan.
That someday land.
Where we want to go. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So building that vision, knowing what you want, but building how to get there is super important. And that's the first step. You have got to start there. Then we can move on to O, which has to do with something you were referring to a lot, is choice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, O doesn't stand for choice, so you have to find out later what O actually stands for, but it has to do with choice. It's choices that we make. You know, learning, L, I'm just going to say is part related to learning, that we have to learn from the process that we go through, and not only learn from others, but learn from ourselves and our own mistakes and our own process that we move along through. And then, ultimately, once we get to D, we've got to be in action. And we've got to not only do the work, but we have to grow into the person who can be the owner of that dream.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where that process of progressing from where you are to where you want to go exists. And I think as a coach, that's where, kind of that juice happens, where we have community around us and we have guidance and we have a plan and all of these steps to get us from where we are to where we want to go. And
beautiful.
Those actions take bravery sometimes, and they take getting out of our comfort zone. And that's where bold shows up again and again, is doing something that, inside us is bubbling to get out, but we've never done, and we have to just do it. Like I'm all excited just even talking about it, because it takes effort, but it's so worth it.
Yep. Oh, I love it. I love it. Wonderful. And I love how the bold comes full circle around too, as well.
Yeah.
And one of the things you've also created is the Gather community. And so I like that, the dream and the support. So you have some of that available as well, the support along the way. So could you take a moment and just share a little bit about the Gather community too?
Absolutely. Well, so this started because back in 2019, I actually created an in-person event space called Gather. It was super exciting. It was a dream that I'd had for a while, and my corporate background was in interior design and project management, so I was really excited to create a room and a space, an environment for people to do in-person work, workshops, book readings, meetings, networking, bringing people together in our local community, because I really felt like that was needed here in Santa Cruz. 5 months after we opened, we had to turn off the lights and wait. And that was in March of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We, had to figure out what was going to come next, because A, we thought it was just temporary, so what are we going to do in the meantime? And B, once we found out it wasn't temporary, what are we going to do, period? So instead of having people come to my room and helping them have a successful event, I decided that I would help people have successful online events. And that's how the Gather community as a company was born. Instead of having people come to the room, we now have members that we support with events that we host. We support them with promotion and visibility. We do masterminds for our members. We have community connection nights like networking and games, stuff like that. So really everything I can do to bring people together so that our members get in front of potential new clients, so that those potential new clients, the world at large, learns about the value of community and connecting with people who can help them in their personal and professional growth. It's like all of the things that I love all packed into one kind of
I love it.
Group.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing kind of the roots of that and how it's come forward and evolved. We are getting really close to going to our next commercial break. And as we're getting ready to do that, do you have any quick tip that you could give or something for our listeners to reflect on, either about being bold, taking a step, connecting, anything that's kind of coming to your heart? Just a quick quick share to help them during the next break, that would be great.
Absolutely. Well, I want to go back actually to how you opened the show, talking about growing and thriving together and how are we choosing to show up. Those were your exact words.
Mm-hmm.
This is the basis of being bold, is that we get to decide how we show up. And when there's something that we want to do to grow, we get to decide how that happens. Now, we may not know the how, like you said,
mm-hmm.
but we get to learn that along the way, and we get to find support. So I would have everyone just take a look at, like, what is it that is calling to you for your next step, and how are you going to choose to show up in the face of that dream?
Beautiful. I love it.
You to show up in a bold way.
Exactly. I love that. Perfect. So as we go to our next commercial break, which is secretly commercials, that's not the secret, but the secret in disguise, or the stealth mode, is those 2-minute commercial breaks are built in on purpose with updates and information and things we want to know. But it also carves out this time for you to be still and to reflect on what Tracy has shared, to really think about what is speaking. How are you choosing to show up? How can you step forward or choose to be even more bold, as we've talked about? We'll look forward to continuing our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Follow us on Twitter at VoiceAmericaTRN. Get the lowdown on guests, new shows, and your favorites. That's VoiceAmericaTRN.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
It's time to serve, learn, change the world. Tune in each week for the power of young people to change the world, hosted by NYLC's CEO, Amy Mewers. The program is a forum for both young people and the adults who love and support them. We make connections with others through stories of change, partnership, and new perspectives of issues facing the world today. Be sure to join us every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time and 3 p.m. Pacific Time, or anytime on demand on the Voice America Empowerment Channel.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. That's EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes just for you. We also paused and took a deep breath together as well. So connecting and remembering to bring all that beautiful oxygen in, because so often we can forget and just move so fast. So I hope that you enjoyed exploring how you're choosing to show up and how you can perhaps be a bit more bold in really claiming and being and bringing forward those things that matter most to you. And I was thinking about, in the opening segment, we talked about, I was even thinking about this as Tracy was sharing about her community, the importance of having support, having things along the way that pour into you, that encourage you, that inspire you. I think it's important to have a toolbox full of tools that you can tap into and are ready. I was talking with someone the other day, and in California, it's really big for us to have like an earthquake kit, because when something happens, we need to have a bag or a container of things in an emergency we can grab and go to a safe location, or fires. We frequently have fires here as well. And I think it's important for us to have the same kind of thing in our lives, that we have something when the unexpected comes, we can kind of go to and get support, or we have those things that are continuing to pour into us positively and powerfully. So I have two resources I wanted to share with you about today that I think could be supportive. They are time sensitive. So you heard that before I shared about them, time sensitive. So it's something that if this will serve you, you want to act on it today. So the first is a book called Radical Health Makeover. Radical Health Makeover. Both of these are available on Amazon. It is by Mary Beauchamp, and it is on special today for $1.99. And it's really designed to help empower you in your health and well-being. I liked how Tracy was making sure we're health and well-being. We're looking at all of it. This book is really designed to help you do that, and the special rate is through today. The author said I could share it out, so I wanted you to know that that is available, and if it would be supportive, I encourage you to check it out. I was powerfully impacted by it. And another book that also is available today on Amazon for that special rate of $1.99 US dollars, by Gary Lee Price is called Divine Turbulence. And it's his personal story. He's a master sculptor and faced horrendous abuse in his early years, and found the light and kind of overcame that to now make and bring this beautiful work throughout the world that has been recognized and shared to make a big difference in the world. So to me, these are people who are stepping forward. They're being bold. They're bringing messages forward. And I just thought they might be resources that could support you. So again, they're both available today only for the $1.99 if that's something that will serve you. They'll be available after today, but they'll be back to the regular prices. So Divine Turbulence by Gary Lee Price and Radical Health Makeover by Mary Beauchamp. Enjoy. I hope they serve and support you. And speaking about having support on the journey, I'm really excited to introduce our next amazing guest, Rachel Mills. She is a self-proclaimed nerd of all trades. I don't hear people claiming that title very often. So I'm self-proclaimed nerd of all trades. She loves to learn about everything that crosses her path. In addition to being an avid learner, she is passionate about helping others shine through her research, writing, and editing skills. She loves to help you show up powerfully. So with that, let's warmly welcome the powerful, passionate, and dynamic Rachel Mills to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, the nerd of all trades is just kind of a funner way to say jack of all trades, I think.
I like it. No, it's claiming your own way of saying that. That's being bold. It's good. We receive. So I love that. I'd love for you to share why. The why is this work of helping people through your research and your writing and your editing. Why does that work matter to you? Why is that important to you?
Yeah, I would say that those are the three areas of my life and work that I just have always been drawn towards. I work professionally in the corporate world still. I'm in that corporate phase, but I've actually, side note, figured out that there's a lot of ways I can still fill my cup while working in that kind of role. Mm-hmm. And what I do is I work as a user experience researcher in researching how people are interacting with software and just experiencing, going through different experiences. And taking that work, I'm really translating the voices of many people and then communicating it to the teams that I work with. And then I have just always loved to write and edit. And I think there's so many people out there with great messages that have a hard time articulating it. And so that's really where I'm really trying to help just other people's voices come through more clearly.
That is so powerful because I think sometimes we can be an expert in a certain area and we know how to speak that language really well. But the people who need us don't speak that language and it can be difficult to
Yes.
translate or build that bridge. So, what a gift you're able to do combined with your research and your gifting around connecting to help people do that. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's very important. There's a lot of just, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to find the right words to connect with people.
Yeah. Well, and we're so close to ourselves, we don't always even know what we're doing or saying or how we look at the world is different or maybe impactful and helpful or could make a difference or someone outside us can see that unique, wonderful thing about us and help us craft the message playing to that strength to reach other people. I think you have a really powerful gifting in this, and it can make such a difference when we can reach more and more people in a way they can hear us and understand us. Wow, I love it. So with that, do you have a favorite example or way that you help somebody in this way that you just kind of carry with you and celebrate?
Well, I think the most important work that I've done has really been the work on myself.
Mm.
Because you can definitely work with other people and help them find their voice, of course. But kind of like what Tracy was saying is it's, you can do that so much that you are forgetting about yourself and taking care of yourself. And I really feel like for me, the pandemic that we went through became this opportunity for me to really face myself and rise, because it's a situation with a lot of fear and isolation, and I was alone in a way I'd never really been before, and I did a lot of work on myself to really just find my voice, and I'm still working on it. I think it's going to be a lifelong journey just because of how I am, and I think a lot of us are kind of programmed to be. We're not really taught to be bold and be ourselves and really show up as we are. But I think a lot of the work that I've done to do that has actually helped me grow both personally and professionally.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that. Because so much of this starts with ourselves. There's not a magic pill. There's no magic wand. But that journey. And I love that you shared that too, because it is a journey. And every step we grow and we keep getting to take steps and we discover new things that we can grow in or stretch or continue to be more and more ourselves and less of what is not us and not who we are. I think it is a journey. So, is there a tip or a piece of advice you can give us, especially with the recent experience in the pandemic and some of all that work that you did? Was there something or a practice that helped you with it, that helped you go deeper and grow and really connect with who you truly are?
Like what to pick?
You can share a couple. It's all good. I don't want to limit.
No. I think for me, a big thing has just been kind of going through the work of reflection on what do I actually like to do? What do I love doing? What is it that I did as a child when I had really no big responsibilities or life ambitions weighing me down? What did I actually do for fun? And thinking about those different activities and things that I did, or the dreams I had as a child, I started to reflect on that and ask myself, did what happened? Did that go away? Do I still have those wants and desires? And so one example of that is I used to draw a lot as a kid. And when I remember I have this distinct memory of being in the 5th grade and being in class and just kind of doodling on paper and then getting in trouble for it because my teacher thought I was not paying attention. And then as I'm looking at my paper right now that I have in front of me, I'm like, I've got a bunch of doodles and notes as I was listening to you and Tracy talk. I'm like, okay, I'm coming back to what it was, because it helps me listen better, honestly. And so I've actually been learning in earnest recently to start to just learn to draw and connect back with that love I used to have. And I think it really helped me tap into my creativity, because I live in Silicon Valley as well, work in a corporate job, and I had become very left-brained in recent years. And I think opening this back up has helped me tap into that creativity, and I'm finally starting to just feel like that creative energy coming out. I've finally started writing my fiction book I always wanted to write. So that's what I think has been really great for me, is reflection and kind of finding my inner child again.
I love that. And even observing yourself. Like, I love how even on the show, you're like, and here are the doodles again. That helps you think, and it's part of you, and acknowledging and celebrating that and discovering that and embracing it. And I'm so excited. I love books. So I love that that's part of something that you're birthing and bringing forward. So that's really exciting. We'll have to stay in touch around that as that starts to come forward. And as you reflect back on our conversation today, and all the way from the start of the show, and we're looking about how can we continue to grow, continue to thrive, to really tap into our gifts and our talents, and maybe rediscover our passions and our gifting and our joy. Do you have an additional tip or thought to support our listeners today?
Yeah, I love Tracy's analogy about finding ways to fill your cup. And if not everyone is in a position to leave their full-time job, or maybe they will be eventually, but not right now. And so how can you still work full-time but not be a slave to your job? How do you work with it not defining you? And one exercise that I think is really interesting and helpful for that people can just kind of do if you want, you can just look this up online. It's called the Wheel of Life. And it's basically where there's, I think, 8 different categories. And it's things like relationships, spirituality, work, family, environment, and all these different categories. And then you rate on a scale of 0 to 10 where you are in each category. And once you do that, you look at after you do that, you look at the roundness of your wheel. And ideally, you'd have like a perfectly round wheel, but I don't know anybody who actually probably does. It's like almost impossible to be balanced all the time in all the categories. But I've done that activity a few different times, and I've measured my growth on that. And seeing where I feel like most filled and the lowest has helped me kind of identify what areas to work on and to feel more balanced, and instead of just completely, I guess, devoted. I guess just figuring out how to just feel more balanced and happy. I think that's a really great exercise, so that you're able to feel fulfilled in your life, even if your fulfillment isn't completely through your work. Well, maybe find ways to balance what you love doing outside, or find ways to bring that into your work.
Beautiful. I love that. And I think that's a great thing to check in, because it gives you a starting place, and it helps something you can interact with and kind of look. And if your wheel is too wobbly or flat, it won't roll. So we want to have,
and it's always nice to have a way to measure over time. You have a baseline.
Exactly. And a check in, or, bring awareness to, especially if there's an area that we've been not paying attention to, it can kind of come out in that, and we can, oh my goodness, wow, I haven't even thought about that in forever. No wonder I'm feeling out of sorts. It can be really insightful. So great tip. Thank you for sharing that. And that was called the Wheel of Life. Is that what you called it?
Yes.
Okay. So for anyone who wants to look that up, Wheel of Life, that's a great activity to lean into and do that check-in. We are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do that, listeners, I want you to think about our conversation. Perhaps write that down as an action step that you can take. Look up Wheel of Life. look up some of those books, some of those resources to support you. And when we come back, we have some final tips we're going to share with you, as well as the way you can connect with our amazing guests. So we will look forward to talking with you again in just 2 more minutes.
Voice America is on your favorite smart speaker. If you have Alexa or Google Home, go ahead and give us a try.
Hey Alexa, play Finding Your Frequency podcast on TuneIn.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
You need to live up to your full potential. You've heard that for years, but now there's a channel to help you get there. Introducing the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Our listeners have told us that they want to be motivated, hear about success stories, and positive encouragement around the clock. And we've responded to you. The Voice America Empowerment Channel is the home of the world's top life coaches, entrepreneurs, and success experts. Listen to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. It's here at voiceamericaempowerment.com.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Find out what makes the most successful people tick. Keep listening to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes. Maybe you did a little Google search on Wheel of Life or Amazon looking for some of those books I mentioned. I also wanted to add to your support list ways that you can connect with our amazing guests. Part of how we like to make a difference in the world is to help you make connections through the show and beyond the show that these guests are pouring into you. They're here on purpose with a desire to support you on your journey. So I want you to feel that. I want you to know that. And I also want you to be able to connect with them on a deeper level so you can continue that relationship from here. So for those of our guests that you really resonated with, connected with, want to know more, I want you to have that information. So I encourage you to get your paper and pen ready, or pencil, marker, chalk, whatever writing utensil you like, so that you are, or you can type it in however you want to capture it. Be ready for that in just a moment. I wanted to also highlight one more resource that we wanted to make available to you as well. Actually, 2. See, I have all these things I want to share with you today. I have 2. So for those of you who are looking at stepping forward and being more bold and are really feeling that pull and the call to start sharing your message on more stages, on more platforms, perhaps even be a guest on our show, I'd love for you to check out the SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's how we find all of our amazing guests that we're able to bring forward and share with the world. And we have partnered with a number of other amazing hosts and leaders who are also looking for great talent. So if you feel that pull and call, check out SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That'll also get you on our list so we can stay in touch and stay connected. So I encourage you to check that out. The second thing is for those of you, perhaps like what Rachel, this had popped into my heart, how you shared about your book that you're looking at creating and bringing forward, which is really exciting. We have a series called the Emerging Author Series. It's a series of free ebooks that you can download to help you know how to bring your book forward, what to do, frequently asked questions. How does it really work? What are next steps? What are each of the steps? So great resource for anyone who's feeling that pull as you're looking to grow and step forward. I always want to encourage you to check that out at the Emerging Author Series, emergingauthorseries.com. It'll take you right there. So I hope those serve you. And there's also a way for us to stay connected when you do sign up to either participate or download so that we're able to stay in touch as well. So with that, I would love to have you, Tracy. What's the best way for people to connect in and go deeper?
Yes. Well, websites are probably the best place for all of the potential links, right? So you can go to tracyroot.com, and that's Tracy with an IE, root like underneath a tree, .com. And of course, you can find my Facebook there and Instagram and LinkedIn and links to the Gather Community website and our Facebook groups and things like that are all able to be found on tracyroot.com.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love that. And I encourage everyone to lean in and connect with Tracy. Wonderful community and so many opportunities to help you be bold and have that impact you're called to have. And then Rachel, what's the best way for people to connect in with you and go deeper?
Yeah, so I have a blog/website, and related to the Nerd of All Trades introduction, my website is Renaissance Rachel, like that classical idea of the Renaissance man, because of my Nerd of All Trades kind of interests. And so renaissancerachel.com. And I also am, like, you can, just like Tracy said, it's where you can find all the links to the Facebook, Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, and I just started a TikTok, but I'm not sure what I'm doing with it. But you can still follow me on there and see those videos as they come out. And if you'd like, feel free to fill out my contact form on my website, and you can say you heard me on Voice America's show, and we can connect from there.
Wonderful. I love that. And thank you for letting us all participate in you learning TikTok. I love that. Get to enjoy the journey. So beautiful. So I also encourage all of you to lean in and connect and follow with Rachel. I think you'll be richly rewarded by that connection and relationship and getting to be on a journey together, which is just wonderful. And I just want to thank each of you for leaning in, saying yes to you, being part of our show today, and being willing to be present, to receive. I hope that as you reflect back on the show and you go back to the beginning of those things that were laid on your heart and spirit, that there has been some shifting to support you in bringing forward what matters to you and growing in thriving and really honoring and listening to what is being placed on your heart and spirit, and that you can feel that support coming alongside you because you matter. There's no one else like you in the world. Your journey, your perspective, your way of showing up in the world. And the biggest gift you can give the world is more of you. So I hope today you have found some ways to peel back some of what isn't fully you and really embrace boldly those things that are more you, and that you're willing to stretch and just share a little bit of the amazing gift of who you are. Share just a little bit more out in the world. That's how we make a global difference. That's how we shine our light. It's heart by heart. It's life by life. It's step by step, sharing who we are, discovering what gives us joy, discovering what our gifts are, and then being willing to trust the world with that information and to share it out. So as you go forward, take a couple minutes at the end of the show just to breathe. All in, all that serves, release what no longer does, and take a moment to look ahead at your day so you can step forward on purpose and with purpose. So as you go forward, may you always choose to bloom where you're planted and shine. Have an amazing week, everyone. Talk to you next time.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter, next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Empowerment Channel, with a replay on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Variety Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine